Ernie LaBaff, and I grew up in the North Country. Went to high school here, left to go serve my country from here, came back and lived all my life up here. Love the North Country, love the people. Glad to contribute as much as I have to the North Country. It makes me very proud. Most of the development and job creation was always downstate, and we were like a forgotten bunch of people here in the North Country that we didn't seem to exist. And through the years, that's come to change because of basically the labor movement in the North Country. I worked for a company, it was a paper mill, and the foreman came out one day and told us, I've got to let two of you go because these two kids are coming back from college, they don't have a job. And on the way out, I said to the guard, this don't seem fair to me. And he said to me, and I'll never forget, if you had a union, this couldn't happen. And about 3 days later, I got hired to Alcoa, and it was an open shop. And they came to me and they said, would you like to join the union? And I said, where do I sign? There's something about working together. There's something about really having that one voice if you belong to a union. And I was married to the labor movement at that day. That was my life. I knew that's what I wanted. Alcoa was big in the North Country. It was the place to work. Thousands worked there in the early days. Then in 1956, over 6,800 people were working there at that time. And that's a dramatic change from what it is today. Let's face it, the job is everything. When you have a job, you have pride, you feel better with your family gains. So job is not just a word, it is your life. So what happened up here with all the Seaway and the Power Authority and General Motors, everybody gained. The ripple effect, everybody gained. More people worked, there were more department stores, there's more retail stores. And as we started to lose our industries, we started to lose those. We only have a few stores up here now, big stores, Walmart, those kind of stores. We don't have all the little stores, the little convenience stores we used to have. That changed as a loss of those manufacturing jobs. That's why the labor movement is fighting so hard to try to bring manufacturing jobs back into the United States. After being laid off from Alcoa, I got a call to Reynolds and Alcoa in the same week. And I told my wife, I'm going to go to Reynolds. It's a new plant. They do have layoffs at Alcoa, and maybe a new plant, I ain't seniority. So I went there, and the job at Reynolds was a lot hotter. There was a lot of more exposure to gases and to heat and to dirt. And so that changed the environment a lot from what I was used to at Alcoa. But the security of starting a new plant made it all worthwhile. I had 5 kids when I went to work at Reynolds. I led the organizing drive at the Reynolds plant and was the observer for the union at the election. And I remember the election, it was September 24th, 1959. We had 158 votes. Steelworkers had 79. The company had 9. And now, here we are, steelworkers after all this time. In those days, you could basically settle things by just talking it out. I can't remember filing 2 grievances in the 7 years that I was a steward, and that's all changed today. 1968, we had a strike, and each local went on different lengths because there was local issues involved, and I actually believe that at the Reynolds plant, maybe the Alcoa plant, might have been the best thing that ever happened. The supervisors tried to run the plant and got it to work on some of these dirty, hot jobs. And once we settled, there was a different attitude towards the worker people. And I've always looked back at the 68 strike, might have been the best thing to happen to both sides. Strike is not easy, and it's hard. And so it shouldn't be, you shouldn't just say, well, we're going to take them out, we're going to take them out. You better think long and hard before you strike, because there is some damage going to be done. I don't care, the best union man in the world can't say it's not, but sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes it's not. I don't think we do a good job of advertising what we do. Every union card should have a bumper sticker on it saying, union yes. People would know, oh my God, 13 million's a lot of people. They'd see a lot of people belong to a union. Oh, I don't want to put nothing on my brand new car. Well, you got that brand new car because you belong to a union. The key to a better life is to belong to a union, and that means you got to get out and work and organize. I sat in the kitchens, and I went to the playgrounds, I went wherever there were people, and that's how you organize. You get them to trust you, and you get them to believe that you're telling the truth, and you show them there's a better way of life by joining a union. The people first, and that's what makes a union. You can have a local union without an international union, but you can't have an international union without a local union. This is where it really begins, right here in this room, these kind of places. This is where the strength of the union movement is, in the union halls and the people that work in the plants. So when you make decisions, and as an international president, that's what you got to be thinking about. What's going to be the impact on those people if I make the wrong decision on saying yay or nay on a strike? And the most important thing is to get the people on the floor to trust you. If they don't trust you, you're not going to accomplish very much. And the only way to get trust is you be honest with them. You tell them the bad news, you tell them the good news, but you tell them. And that's the way I've always operated. I was poor. That's what impacted me. I graduated from high school with a second-hand suit that my mother had to sew the crotch in. And my date was Gertie. All my life I felt sorry for poor people and poor kids because I know the feeling of standing there and not have something and the other kid did. And I always made up my mind that if I could do anything for anybody, I'm going to make sure that don't happen to them. That's what impacted me. And I never forgot where I came from. And I never will. Basically, because of Patco and Ronald Reagan, I think his action weakened the right to strike, where you can stand up for your family and stand up for yourself, but you can be replaced by a scab. And I don't use the word replacement worker, it's scab. The traffic controllers went on strike, and basically it was an illegal strike by law. And so they went on strike, and even though I understand the International Union told them not to do that, but they did. And Ronald Reagan permanently replaced them. He fired them all and permanently replaced them. All right, fine. But I've argued since then, he could have pardoned the air traffic controllers. You pardon bank robbers, murderers, and presidents. You could at least pardon the air traffic controllers. The 68 strike never got into trouble with scabs. Once Patco, it was a common occurrence. Scabs, scabs, scabs. Right in that little paper mill where I live, scabs. Right in my backyard. Good, decent people that just went out, tried to keep what they got, lost their jobs because they were replaced. That to me has been the downfall of labor, Patco. Remember what your job means to you and your family and your payments and security and your health care. It means everything. And when they threaten you that you're going to lose your job or we're going to close this plant, or if you do form a union and you do strike, we're going to replace you. Nobody's going to join the union. I'll interject this right now. That would have done more for the country and the economy to strengthen the unions than any single thing. Because back in the 40s and the 50s, when the labor was the strongest, this country was the strongest country economically in the world. I've always been taught one thing, one voice. It's one voice is why you join a union. And when now you have these international unions leaving the AFL-CIO, how can you say one voice? Because you get 3 or 4 unions trying to organize the plant, the employer always wins. So when you spread all these unions up, they feel, well, that's my jurisdiction or my jurisdiction, and you get that combat going on, we lose. Some locals don't believe you should be involved in politics. You have to be if you're going to survive, Because like they say, with a stroke of a pen, everything we've done good can be signed away. You have to be involved in politics, from the lowest level to the highest level. If people think there's not racism in this country today, they're wrong. You walk into a hotel, see who's carrying the bags and mopping the floors and doing the dishes and making the beds. They're all minorities. So don't tell me that racism doesn't exist. We have problems in this country today because people still don't want to accept Obama as the president because he's black. All my life, I have fought that. I was given an award by the steelworkers for my fight in civil rights. I think if you're a true trade unionist, you cannot discriminate against anybody. You should be for gay marriage. You should support the getting rid of don't ask, don't tell. Anything that is for the people's rights, a true trade unionist should be supporting. And if you're not, then you're not a true trade unionist in my book. We're the greatest instrument of social justice in the world. It has to be that way. Civil rights, union rights, all rights are one package. When people come first, the whole country is going to gain. Some of my friends, when we were in the 70s, we got some great contracts, and they'll say, Ernie, we'll never see those days again. And I think back to those days, and I say, well, why not? Why can't we, if we stick together and pull together, can't we pull this country back together? And when I say let's take our country back, I don't mean it the way they do. When they say I want to take my country back, it's because we got a black president. I want to take our country back so we had the 40s and 50s. So working people and middle-class Americans really have what they should have. And creating minimum wage jobs is not helping anybody. I remember Governor Rockefeller said this years ago. A person was objecting at a business in Potsdam. I can't afford to raise the minimum wage. And he said, you ought not be in business. And then he said, why should anybody work in poverty so you can make a living? The strength of anything is the people. If you can't be for people, I don't want nothing to do with you.